Of all the events they could have chosen to bring back, they brought back the Hunt, that one event that we thought was going to be an egg hunt but turned out to be a 100 game badge hunt. This time it's pretty similar even in terms of the egg hunt promise, except now it's called Mega Edition. This time around we have a grand total of 25 games. You know, for an event titled Mega Edition, I'm quite surprised by the low amount of games featured in the event, despite the fact that there was a lot of build up for this event with a promise of 1 million Robux to the winner of the event, whatever that means. I'll be mostly ignoring that and focusing on this event from the perspective of a slightly interested Roblox player who took his sweet time doing the event and was in no hurry to complete it, because my method for obtaining the million Robux is by complaining about Roblox events on YouTube. But seriously, going into this event, I'm just extremely confused by how it even works. I mean, there's 25 quests you're meant to do and supposedly 25 mega quests that are extremely difficult to do, sort of like RB battles but with all the games instead of only a few. I'm not sure how to feel about that, but oh well. Supposedly they had a lot of QA testing for this event, which should filter out all the bad quests in the games, which is why I'll be a little harsher while critiquing the quests in these games, as now there isn't the excuse of the devs had 2 weeks to make the quests. I think, at least. And well, one last thing. Each game, like I said earlier, has 2 sets of quests, ones that are meant for the 8-year-old newbies who really could not care less and are guided towards completion, which I'll refer to as the main quests, and ones that are meant for the elite Robloxian gunters who have way too much time on their hands, which I'll refer to as the mega quests. I will firstly go over the main quests, as those are the ones I did first, and then talk about the mega quests separately. Each quest will get a different rating, and I'll try to keep these 2 points independent. So I think it's about time I head into this event, right? I have no idea how to start this. Transition card, please? 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 was the first game I unfortunately decided to try out, and it was definitely not a good introduction to this event. To get the main quest completed, you had to watch 20 Roblox TikToks. I kid you not, you just doom scroll these boring videos for 10 minutes. Then afterwards press a couple more buttons and you get the badge. 3 out of 10. Earn 1,000 points by feeding a giant noob. Wait, that sounds kinda familiar. I don't understand why there's a massive map for this quest if all of it is centralized around this giant noob anyway, but that's besides the point, I guess. It wasn't that bad. 5 out of 10. Alright, and this is the first objective that was honestly really fun to do. Pressure. You have to complete a custom game mode where you have to go through 40 doors and avoid 3 entities. The Crooked, which is just kind of like a Weeping Angel statue, or 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, basically it moves when you don't look. The Rebarb, who you have to flash, and Pipsqueak, who you have to avoid by going into the closet. I feel like you can make a lot of jokes with those descriptions, but you get the point. This was honestly really fun, as it involves some strategizing and learning, while also not being overly complicated and annoying. There's genuinely not a single thing I can complain about. It was just a well thought out quest. 10 out of 10. I love how Roblox manages to always pick out a new crappy tower defense game in every event. I mean, SpongeBob Tower Defense? At least it's not 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 Toilet Tower Defense, right? It's just your typical tower defense quest. You do the custom map and you get the thing. For some reason the Sandy Cheeks Tower is really good, even though it's mid-tier, and there's for some reason the inflated Squidward Tower too, if that tickles your fancy. It could be worse, I guess. At least it took me like 10 minutes. 5 out of 10. I expected a lot more from this game, but the quest is literally just play the game normally for more than an hour. I feel like the quest was stretched out way more than it needed to be. 2 out of 10. Wait, so a driving game actually made a good quest that doesn't involve driving around a map for 30 minutes? Yeah, that's right, DriveWorld took a very unique approach to the quest for this game by making you complete 4 obbies with a car in order to get the badge. Honestly, this concept is extremely unique and fun, because it takes the game's existing mechanics and recycles them in an interesting way for the event. The maps they made for the quest are also not too ridiculously difficult, but they're also not easy, and they also just look aesthetically pleasing, especially the one with the classic Roblox references. A fun, short, simple, and to the point quest. 9 out of 10. Please stop putting this game in future Roblox events. Sincerely, Scouthex. At least this time you technically aren't required to play the game for hours on end, but unfortunately I have poor reading comprehension and game comprehension skills for a game that I never want to touch again. So I had to spend like an extra 45 minutes gathering these credits for the second quest, but hey, it's fine. Negativity bias aside though, the quest isn't all that bad. It's not terrible if you already have some progress in the game. 4 out of 10. To complete the main quest in this game, you had to finish a tier 2 raid, which sounded a lot more interesting than it actually turned out to be. If I were to rephrase it, just walk around and click for 20 minutes. 2 out of 10. I don't understand how or why a game called 𝗧𝗺𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 High School always has the highest quality and best objectives and events, but I mean, hey, I'm not complaining. You had to complete a short storyline thing where you get transported to a 𝗧𝗏𝗃 Road-esque minigame and get 50 score in it. The whole quest was just well made, the animations were smooth, the graphics are amazing. Just everything about it blew me away, honestly. The only thing I can complain about is that the quest was a little too short, but hey, quality over quantity, am I right? 8 out of 10. You know, I'm actually upset that this game got chosen for the event instead of Dressed to Impress. Like, that game is actually good. This is just... It's funny how blatantly it rips it off. I mean, they just look like the same game. The quest doesn't make up for it either, as it's literally just play the game normally for 10 minutes. 2 out of 10. So, you guys remember the normal elevator from 2015 or so? Well, they made it into a modern game with a quest where you play the game normally. I can appreciate the game for what it's for, but I can't appreciate the quest from an objective standpoint. 3 out of 10. Okay, I actually didn't think this one was too bad. You have to complete a custom dungeon, which isn't all that related to the hunt, but whatever, I guess. It's definitely a lot better than the Quest World Zero offered in previous events. 6 out of 10. I literally did this one in like 2 minutes. You had to win a 2v2 and score 5 goals, which is very easy if you have alt accounts. Fairly boring quest, but at least it was short. 4 out of 10. They really nerfed the quest in Untitled Boxing Game this time around, since I had a much easier time with the bosses. They did pretty much the exact same thing they did last event, where you have to defeat 2 NPCs in a boxing round thingy. I guess it's not a bad quest, though it also isn't really memorable, all things considered. 7 out of 10. Drive around the map with one of the slowest forms of transportation and take cute little selfies at cute little spots. Isn't this just so girl boss, guys? I think I'd rather bike in the real world than do this quest. 3 out of 10. The game itself was fun to play and the idea is actually really cool and well executed, but this is a review on the hunt, not infectious gunfights, so 4 out of 10. I only have one small complaint about this quest. Did it really have to be a linear quest? Actually, no, it's not one small complaint. This whole quest is just kind of meh. I mean, come on, there could have been at least a custom map or something. I know that the devs on Rivals are more than capable of coming up with something interesting. 3 out of 10. Complete the new map on easy difficulty. It's just a standard tower defense simulator objective, so there's not much I can really say. Weirdly enough, this is probably the only quest that references the old core blocks theme from the first hunt event. 8 out of 10. I had quite a few issues while playing this quest. This whole quest is really buggy in general, but to be honest, it added to the charm. To get the token, you had to drive 3,000 meters and defeat 3 different bosses at specific points in the map. The boss fights were all laughably easy and you could cheese all of them, but I mean, hey, at least they tried to make it entertaining. It's obvious that this quest isn't quite as good as their quest in the classic, but I still enjoyed it. 7 out of 10. Survived 3 rounds. The only noteworthy thing that happened is some exploiter being in my lobby and I can't quite describe what he was doing, but you can fill in the blanks. 3 out of 10. This time around, Arsenal's quest was quite lackluster actually. There wasn't that much to do and it didn't really flow as smoothly as their previous quests, though on its own it's okay. It's another story mode quest, though to be honest, it was so short that I forgot to pay attention to the story. It was alright, though it definitely felt rushed and unfinished, like there's just something missing. Nothing's really expanded upon. 7 out of 10. I do not miss this game at all. To get the badge this time though, you had to win a really easy 4v1 against an AI that isn't that good. Considering that 3 other players can help you out in this quest, it makes it pretty much a freebie. The hardest part of the quest was getting into a match because of how many people camped the queue. 4 out of 10. Cook 5 exquisite meals for Gordon Ramsay, as if he actually needs them. Unfortunately, it's not a custom meal or anything, which wouldn't even be that hard to incorporate. Alternatively, they could have also made a custom round, sort of like what they have already done with the obby and knife chase rounds. But the devs unfortunately took the lazy way out. 3 out of 10. You could either fairly complete this brand new obby made for the event, or just cheese it by spamming E. Seriously, did no one bother to playtest this game? I mean, at least they tried, I guess. 4 out of 10. Catch 10 fish, open 2 bait boxes, and travel to one of the islands. Again, like with Hell's Kitchen, it's not that hard to come up with something more for this quest, and they did exactly that in the Winter Spotlight event by making an entirely new island and making an NPC quest to get the token. Oh well, at least it didn't take that long to complete. 4 out of 10. And that's all the 25 main quests completed and reviewed. On average, a game scored a 4.8 out of 10, which is actually higher than the Hunt's first edition average game score, a 4.6 out of 10, though it's not a huge bump up, and it's likely just due to the fact that there were less games to work with. Overall, the main quests were quite lackluster. I managed to complete all of them in probably under 6 hours if I had to guess, and I even managed to edit this section long before the event ended. There were quite a few games that disappointed me with their lack of content, mostly Untitled Tag Game, Rivals, and Fish. All very promising games with active developers. Despite everything though, I'd say this is probably the best set of quests we've gotten from the modern Roblox event era. Seriously, there was not a single objective here that was actively painful to do, other than Car Crushers 2 like usual, but we don't talk about that since that was just my own personal stupidity. All of them were at the very least just slightly below mediocre, which I actually think is a huge improvement. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the main quests. But wait, that's just the tip of the iceberg. You see, these quests were just what the games offered to the player, but if you dug a little deeper, you'd find that every single game has a hidden side quest with a whole separate system of collection. Every day, new mega quests were revealed gradually, which is an interesting system, though I think it makes sense for an event like this, and it honestly made the event experience more fun, since waiting for the tokens was part of the experience in a way. Well anyway, these quests are going to be a lot harder and convoluted, so I'm just gonna get to the point already. This is an interesting choice for a Roblox event which promises to give 1 million Robux. It is also the first mega quest you have to complete, since you need to complete the mega quests in a specific order, for some reason. Well anyway, to get the mega token here, you had to talk to the Flying Dutchman and complete another custom tower defense map thing. Though this was more interesting, because halfway through the round, a new route opens up which requires some strategizing from the beginning in order to complete the game mode. Honestly, for a game called SpongeBob Tower Defense, I think they did a good job, and it's definitely a lot more interesting than their main quest. I don't really have anything bad to say. 6 out of 10. The second game to be discovered was Untitled Tag Game, and in this game you had to find a portal on one of the maps and then enter it. From there you had to complete a custom storyline where you had to break yourself out of prison by crashing a drone into your cell and then destroy the reactor in this laboratory that you're inside of. When I say I was absolutely stunned when I saw this objective, I mean it. It's clear that they put all of their focus and effort into the mega quest, and it really paid off. Everything about this quest, from the story to the animations to the movement to the mechanics, just everything was perfect. It also didn't drag on and wasn't too punishing, yet it also challenged you and made you think. I feel like this is pretty close to a perfect example of what a mega quest should be in my opinion. 10 out of 10. You want to know what's not close to perfect? Pressure's Mega Quest. I absolutely adored this one. To get it, you have to firstly find 4 notes across the lobby in order to enter a code at one of the doors hidden in the offside of the new game mode. You then could find a decoder in the room, which you had to use to decode 5 radio recordings throughout the 40 doors. Then, instead of going to the end and escaping, you had to go to one of the offside doors again and go through this cool tunnel and ride a tram to a different area of this laboratory place. You then had to complete an entirely different and harder version of the Hunted game mode, where you had to collect 30 white fragments while avoiding the same monsters and while also on a 10-minute time limit, and with lava flowing into random spots and you having an oxygen meter. To sum up, it's just a chaotic mix of mechanics that flows surprisingly well and give you a nice challenge. Once again, it never felt completely unfair since you still could strategize and choose what you want to prioritize. Plus, the time limit isn't very strict and is only really there to give you more pressure, pun intended. This whole segment, while having a rather slow start, was insanely fun to complete and built upon the first quest they made. And can I mention the soundtrack? Just wow, just take the perfect rating already. 10 out of 10. After gathering these 3 mega tokens, you had to go back to the lobby in order to complete a box pushing puzzle where you had to push all the boxes in these glowing squares. To be honest, these puzzles are kind of hard to review, especially considering the fact that after some time they get nerfed, and also because I cheesed pretty much all of them, so I'll just mention them and move on. Anyways, game number 4, please. To complete the quest Enchained, you simply had to drop down a bit and touch this neon blue brick. You would then be teleported to a new obby where you're separated for the most part. Now the obby is actually fairly well made, though I've never seen an obby incorporate just completely RNG dependent sections. Yeah, I feel like this quest would have done well without them in my opinion. 5 out of 10. Now, I should have probably talked about this in the Untitled Tag Game section, but some of the games in this event decided to cheap out on their main quests in order to make their mega quest more interesting, and Rivals is one of those games. It starts off really weirdly with you having to shoot a bunch of targets in the practice range and then needing to get 15 kills and 3v3s in a specific map, but after that the quest becomes more interesting, with you having to complete a custom boss round made for the event. I honestly thought this was a nice challenge. I like how the game gives you different guns to choose for your loadout. I thought that was a nice touch. 5 out of 10. Equip random hats and collect golden camera. You know, they could have just made you doom scroll for 20 minutes instead. This quest was just kinda stupid. 3 out of 10. I personally really dislike when difficult quests like this are difficult solely because you have to find something somewhere without knowing what you're looking for. World Zero isn't the best example of this, there's a game that does this even worse, but I'm just gonna say this now. Anyway, even though the first part of this quest was I like the custom boss fight they made. Again, it's similar to what Rivals did, except it's World Zero now. I don't have anything else to add. 6 out of 10. After gathering these 4 mega tokens, you had to complete this puzzle with the sliding boxes, which I did when it was so easy that you can complete it in 3 moves, so that's definitely saying something. I guess I appreciate that Roblox nerfs the puzzles after a certain amount of time, since either way it doesn't matter after a certain point in time if you can complete the puzzle. But yeah, next game please. The quest definitely starts off weirdly, with you having to carry these batteries 11 times up a hill to open up a portal. The batteries, man, what the hell is the point in you having to drop and pick up the batteries every 8 seconds? Afterward, you would witness this buggy cutscene and get teleported to a separate place where you had to sit through another long, but this time not buggy cutscene. After that, you had to complete 2 boss fights, and I mean, they're okay. They were definitely a lot better than what the main quest had to offer. I just didn't really like this spinning laser attack thing because it damaged you almost every time no matter what you did. 7 out of 10. Infectious Gunfight did nothing extra for their mega quest. I mean, you had to collect some goggles, I guess, and then kill some people with letters on their name? Seriously? 2 out of 10. Basketball Legends made an actually fun quest, surprisingly enough. After flicking a lever, you had to find some numbers and symbols that correspond to the order in which you have to make these 3-pointers. If you get the order right, you get teleported to a 1v1 against an NPC who actually offers a challenge, especially if you aren't that good at the game. I really like how this game incorporates some normal gameplay. It genuinely felt like a Basketball Legends mega quest and not anything else. And on top of that, it wasn't unfair. Honestly, I have nothing bad to say. 8 out of 10. Yeah, this one's not much different from the main quest. Drive around the map completing various odd tasks for the mayor, because that's what the hunt is all about, right? Hunting for meaningless tasks to do. I guess there isn't much else a game like this could have done, but I don't know, the objective just felt rather bland and felt more like an in-game quest more than anything. 3 out of 10. This game is so weirdly low quality. It feels like this game was made in 2014 or something, but it's probably one of the most modern games in this event. All the cutscenes in this game feel off, and so did this quest. You had to go to Gordon Ramsay's basement and chase down some black guy. But wait, actually no, he's no black guy. He's the food critic who you had to cook 5 exquisite meals for. The quest didn't do anything wrong per se, it's just unpolished, if that makes sense. 5 out of 10. After completing Hell's Kitchen, you once again had to go back to the hub to complete another puzzle, and wait, no, not this again. This game is paying us back! Listen guys, I'm too dumb to understand how these sliding puzzles work. I'm clearly not cut out to compete in events like this, man. This is genuinely embarrassing. Even on the easy difficulty, I had my friend guide me through basically the entire thing. Oh well, at least I did it right. Let's just move on already. You guys remember the lackluster objective they made for the main quest? Well, the mega quest completely makes up for it because wow, this one surprised me. You had to concoct some sort of machine with potion thing, and then you were transported to this RPG version of Arsenal where you had to save your city from getting invaded by these alien robots. Honestly, even though this quest was rather short, I actually enjoyed it a lot, and you can really see the love and passion they put in for this small quest. They really didn't need to do this, but they did anyway, and I just love that. Though it does feel like a little too much. I feel like an RPG is a little too unrelated to Arsenal. What made their previous quests work so well was the fact that they utilized Arsenal's mechanics and physics to make interesting story mode quests, but this is just something else entirely. The only thing that ties this back to Arsenal is the delinquent. It was still a good quest, and I appreciate them trying something new. It definitely made the quest more memorable. 9 out of 10. Wait, you're telling me natural disaster survival actually made something interesting? It's not just survive 3 rounds? What? Yeah, weirdly enough, you had to help this NPC unanchor himself, and to do that, you had to go to this secret lab in the pillar of the lobby, which is genuinely so cool, by the way, and you had to go to these specific maps and figure out which disaster applies to each of them. Well, I guess there had to be a catch. Yeah, good luck doing this in a public server. I'll give it points for creativity, though. It was definitely a cool addition to the game. 5 out of 10. Feed the giant noob a purple egg thing. Genuinely no clue how you're supposed to figure this out on your own, by the way, so I'm not even gonna bother explaining how. And then complete this half obby, half chase sequence where you have to get to the top of this hill in the Egg Hunt 2012 map for some reason. Except now, purple egg thing spawns and deletes the map. This was definitely an odd objective. It wasn't all that interesting, but I liked the effort put into it, and it definitely was a lot more interesting than the main quest. So overall, not bad. 7 out of 10. Ah, hey guys, it's my favorite game in this event. For this one, you had to do a whole lot of random stuff in order to unlock a secret door. You had to crush your car in 10 different places, and one of them is just outside of the destruction facility on some random hill. Yeah, that sounds like fun, right? I guess it wasn't terrible, but I personally prefer the main quest over this one. 4 out of 10. For this quest, you have to gather a code in order to unlock a boss fight arena. I'm starting to sense a common theme in these games here. I don't really have much to add. I like that they did this. The quest definitely had its charm. At times the 1v1 felt a little bit unfair, but other than that, it's a passable objective. 5 out of 10. Oh my goodness, how did this get past QA testing? Who thought this quest was a good idea? Listen, I get that this is supposed to be a hard event and all, but this is not the way to do it. The quest basically boiled down to f around and find out. There's literally no other way to say it. Genuinely, nothing in this quest made any sense. I feel bad for the poor souls who had to figure out this quest on their own, because my gosh, there is no cohesion in it. I think the worst part was the part where you had to, gosh, I wish I was kidding. You had to fart on the pipes. You had to fart on the pipes multiple times, like probably double-digit amount of times. I don't know, man. The part at the end absolutely does not make up for the disaster that I had to play through here. Just everything about this is so bad. And it's weird because Bayside High School's main quest was good. All they had to do was just expand on it. And they did exactly that, but just wrong. Wrong on so many levels. 1 out of 10. Pushing that objective aside, you now had to once again go back to the hub to complete the penultimate puzzle, which was a connect the wire type puzzle. Again, I did this on easy difficulty, and I mean, it was laughably easy. I did it by myself in less than a minute, which was nice. I'm glad I could move on quickly. Well then, on to the last set of games now. Like with their main quest, Regretavator did nothing special. I mean, all you had to do was click a button, find some stuff, do some puzzles, and that's it. I guess I appreciated that their quest was fairly simple, but at the same time, I thought there would be something more. 4 out of 10. Complete the main quest map on Mega difficulty, which doesn't feel any harder than the normal difficulty, especially considering the fact that I did this quest by myself with no real trouble. 7 out of 10. I think while QA testing the games for the event, they forgot that Pet Simulator 99 was a part of the roster of games and just glossed over it entirely, because I refuse to believe that anyone gave the thumbs up for this quest. There's literally zero indication for what you're supposed to do, or if you're even doing it right. It's another one of those f around until you find out quests, except taken to the extreme. They could have at least added something like a counter, or heck, a click indicator or sound that plays when you press the right thing down. Who's gonna click every single clover in this stupid raid? 1 out of 10. I think this one was designed to be tedious and dragged out. The first part of this quest is already a little especially in comparison to their main quest, with you having to find some UFOs around the map and writing down the numbers. But the second part, you had to push a marble across the entire map with your car. Thankfully, this part of the quest didn't give me too much trouble, but it still feels a little gimmicky. Whatever, at least it only took like 10 minutes. 4 out of 10. Alright, Untitled Boxing Game. Another objective that was just wow, I really like the story elements of this. Essentially, you have to climb up this rope, hack into what I believe to be the void by doing this color puzzle, and then complete an obby that was more annoying than I would have preferred before fighting the void samurai boss. The boss fight itself might be easier or about the same difficulty as the normal quest bosses, but just this whole story element and atmosphere really makes this feel like a mega token quest for me. This objective really stood out to me, and honestly I have nothing bad to say other than the obby. Please never make a maze like this ever again. 9 out of 10. Collect 3 batteries and then turn on the TV, then switch to the breaking news channel and look at this uncanny AI-generated DTI character explain some sort of story to you. Then you get teleported to a laboratory where you have to assemble a ray gun and then fight off a giant heart thing. Along the way, you'd also have to free these researchers trapped in the testing tubes by doing a simple minigame. Listen, I really do appreciate the effort, but it once again just seems really unpolished, almost laughably so. This was more funny to me than impressive or engaging, to be honest. And again, it just feels like a dress to impress quest, but downgraded. 5 out of 10. And the last game in MegaQuest, Fish. You firstly had to go to Terrapin Island and unlock a secret vault. Then you had to complete this rather tedious maze and catch 8 new fish, which have to be placed in a specific order. Honestly, this quest was actually pretty fun. Again, it never felt like a completely unfair quest, well, maybe apart from the fact that the Cthulhu melody was a bit off to the side, but maybe that's just a skill issue on my end. I don't really have anything bad to say. It makes up for the main quest quite well. 8 out of 10. And well, after collecting the 25th Mega Token, you could visit the hub one last time to complete one last puzzle, and not to brag or anything, but I did this one by myself in 15 minutes. I feel like this puzzle was an odd choice to be the last puzzle for an event like this, but I personally enjoyed it. After completing the puzzle, you would be teleported to one last area, and there you could collect the grand prize, your chance to win $1 million if you were top 10, a Federation hat if you were top 50, and the diadem if you're a peasant. And so that's all the Mega Tokens covered. On average, a Mega Quest got a rating of 5.5 out of 10, which is the best average rating of any event we've gotten so far. Of course, there were a few games like 𝗧𝗶𝗺 𝗨𝘀 and Pet Simulator that completely screwed up the average rating, but ignoring those 2 games, every quest was just genuinely fun, or at the very least tolerable. This is the best set of quests we've gotten in any Roblox event since like RB Battles or the 2017 and 2018 egg hunts. Seriously, I had a blast doing all of these quests. It felt like a completely different experience compared to the first edition of the hunt, which I only had fun because of the counter slowly going up rather than the quests being enjoyable. So honestly, good job to all the developers that made these quests possible, and Roblox for doing such a good job organizing this event. Before I move on and give my full thoughts on the event, I'd like to talk about a few more smaller details in this event. Firstly, the 2 extra prizes you could receive, which included the CAC Trot. To get it, you had to watch the Hunt's trailer on Discord quests and then input the code into the game. It's definitely an interesting way to promote this event, but hey, I don't mind the free prize. And then the Hexanoval overlay, which I missed annoyingly enough because I mistook when the event was going to end. Oh well, looks like I won't be getting a hat that I'll never wear. What a shame. Then the launcher items, which were surprisingly easy this time around, and I mean I have nothing else to say about them because they're just launcher items. Which, speaking of, let's talk about the prizes in this event. One thing that I'll note off the bat is that we got a ton of prizes this time around, which is already a huge step up from the previous events we've gotten so far. Compared to the first edition's 13 prizes, including the gold track items, we got nearly 40 items depending on how you count what counts as a prize. Like in the first edition, and just any modern event nowadays, you could obtain a new prize after collecting a certain amount of tokens and redeem the prizes in the hub. There was also a separate gold track for each corresponding prize you could get with the tokens. And also, along with the main token prizes, there was also a separate Mega Quest track where you could get 5 more items and their corresponding variants. I still feel a little on the fence about the whole gold track idea, but it seems to be a good marketing tool for Roblox, and I guess I'll let it slide due to the $1 million grand prize they promised. Though the increasing prices of the gold tracks are starting to worry me a little. Well anyways, let's talk about all of the prizes. The Knowledge Visor and all of its variants look extremely clean. I love the blank and noir versions of them. I feel like those can match with a lot of simple outfits and honestly look great on their own. I like the little eyeballs on the visors. It adds to the charm of the prize in my opinion, and I think the color choice is nice, though I definitely prefer the standard prize more. The Hexro mantles are an interesting prize, that's for sure. The actual mesh and texture look really clean. I think it's really cool that they made an item that references the hub in some sort of way. I honestly think it looks cool, though I wish they made a version that replicates the normal hub's pillars instead of the light blue version. The tech packs also all look great. There's just so much attention to detail for a backpack item. It just really shows how far event prizes have come compared to the backpack prizes we got back in 2016. Honestly, amazing prize, though the blank and noir variants look a little worse because the details don't pop as much. The fractal wings look alright. It's probably the weakest prize in this event, but the prizes in this event are just so good that I don't have anything bad to say. I think if they were a little wider they would look nicer, but that's really all I have to say. The Geo wings are a much better version of the fractal wings. Like, wow, I really love the idea. The noir wings are a little because it's hard to spot the details, but the gold track version looks just wow, it's amazing, really. The black and white really complement each other. Genuinely an amazing prize. I like the vibe that it's going for, but it's a little weird for me personally. The regular regular antlers still look great, especially the droid version. The colors and texture are very nice, but the mesh throws me off. And also the fact that the gold track antlers have a much better mesh. The noir antlers look okay. I've noticed with all the prizes that the blank and noir versions look sleek and clean, but they do a really poor job of highlighting the details of the prizes. Compared to the satellite antlers, it's a huge contrast. These antlers really remind me of the Metaverse Champions 𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀, and I guess it's kind of fitting that this is the final prize in the main track. Well, thanks Roblox for reminding us that this could have been an egg hunt. All jokes aside, the rabbit ears look nice, both variants have their charm, and I guess it's nice that they made a reference to the egg hunts in some way, but come on man. This is definitely the most interesting prize right next to the 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀𝗀 mantles from earlier. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I don't really care since it looks extremely cool. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to have this in their Roblox inventory? This is probably my favorite prize from this event. I just love that it references the old TV had with a new twist, and I really like that they made this the free item and not some sort of limited. The design is great and it's not just a complete ripoff, which I love. Similarly, the Mecha Mr. Robot is also another one of my favorites. I really like the match of the cardboard box and the robotic parts on top of it. I thought that was a fitting and funny touch. I also love how futuristic it looks. Just overall a very clean and cool hat that can be worn outside of the event. The edge swords both look great, but could you imagine how cool it would be if you could wear both of them? For some reason the meshes are a little weird and off center in comparison to one another, so that's really disappointing. But other than that, the two swords look amazing on their own. The cape of fragmentation looks great. I really love the fact that it sort of fades off at the end. I thought that was a really nice touch, and the color combination is also great. I've noticed Roblox really likes making white, gold, and blue hats. To be honest, I think it looks better than the Cape of Refraction purely because of the fading aspect. I felt like it fit the fact that this is technically the final Mega Track prize. If we're talking about the actual final prize though, the Diadem of Resurgence is honestly a little eh. I love the attention to detail, but the color being purely white was a little bit of an odd choice for me, and also the mesh doesn't look that appealing to me either. The Arcs of Resurgence also look nice. I like that there's more color to it, even if it is grayscale, but what really upset me was the 1,000 Robux price tag. Come on Roblox, seriously? Was this really necessary? I honestly would have preferred if this prize wasn't even in the event at all, because this just feels like one last middle finger to the people who missed out on the Federation. Also, there's these arrows on the sides, and I mean, I think it's weird how they point to your Roblox avatar's crotch. No comment there. The Federation is honestly one of the most beautiful event prizes we've ever gotten. From the color choice to the mesh to the texture to the idea to the Roblox logo, literally everything about this hat is just perfect, and it is definitely the perfect prize for people who got top 50 in the event. The Challenger's outfit looks nice. I'm glad Roblox learned from their mistake in the first edition and made an R6 version of the clothing prizes in this event, so that's definitely appreciated. Honestly, the shirt looks pretty nice even if it is just an advertisement for the event. I'm not even gonna bother talking about the Challenger's uniform because, I mean, look at it. I can't complain too much though, since they did make an R6 version of it, so that's a huge plus. The Cactrot is definitely a pretty cute accessory. I like the little hat it has and the face, but I don't really see why this is a part of the event. It looks completely different compared to the other prizes. On its own though, it's fine. The hexanoval overlay looks nice. I like the idea a lot, and it definitely is a nice accessory that can be easily added onto an avatar. I guess I would have preferred it if there was a part over one of the eyes on your Roblox avatar, but other than that, pretty good. And last but not least, the launcher horns, which unsurprisingly I absolutely adore. The texture, the colors, the mesh, so much attention to detail. I love it. It's perfect. Wow, amazing. Gosh, I've said so many good things, it's getting almost a little tiring. Overall, I genuinely think this is the best set of prizes we've ever gotten from a Roblox event. A huge pro of the modern Roblox events we've been getting so far is the prizes. They're all so detailed, yet at the same time you can appreciate them even without looking into them. They strike the perfect balance of simple and complex and look appealing to the eye. Even the weaker prizes in this event were hard to nitpick, and that's really saying something. And so that's all of the prizes covered, and I guess it's time to conclude this review and give my final thoughts. The Hunt Mega Edition was genuinely one of my favorite events of all time, right up there with the egg hunts. Nearly everything in this event was so carefully crafted. It's clear that a lot of thought and care went into this event, something we haven't seen in events for years. I'm so glad that Roblox finally decided to lock in and create something unforgettable for the Roblox community, as that's what events are all about. I haven't even talked about the Mega Final, which was one of the funnest community events to watch, and I even got to root for one of my closest friends, which good job Eagle by the way, even if you didn't win. The objectives in this event were great. Not a single one was actively annoying or bad. The length was also great, the event wasn't too long but also wasn't too short, and the spacing of the mega tokens just made the whole experience a lot more fun. The puzzles in between the stages were also a nice touch. It added another aspect to the event that was missing in all the previous events we've gotten so far, which was the hub. Sure, the other events had objectives in the hub, but none of them incorporated them like the hunt did. Out of the 5 requirements that I listed in order to improve the first edition of the hunt, 3 of them were fully fulfilled, and I guess the event was more cohesive, so we can almost argue that 4 of them were fulfilled. This was a big step in the right direction for Roblox's end, and that's why I'm going to give this event an 8.5 out of 10. Even though the average rating was a 5 out of 10 for each game, I decided to add an extra half point for the hub puzzles. The event was fairly original, especially since it was following an established format, yet it managed to make it unique and interesting. The prizes were just wow, perfect. Like I said, probably the best set of prizes we've gotten in a Roblox event so far. The building in the hub was amazing. It felt like an expansion of what we got in the first edition, and the other side areas looked beautiful as well, though the game choice could have been a little better, especially due to a few games like Pet Simulator and a few other smaller games like Hell's Kitchen and It Girl. And well, I'm not sure if I'm alone on this one, but I encountered virtually 0 bugs in this event other than in like 1 game, and even then it didn't really matter all that much.
Do I only exist to do the outro segments now? Listen guys, trust me, the redemption arc of the real life scenes is gonna be crazy. Just not right now, I'm a little shy. But anyway, remember everyone, stay in school, don't do drugs, and stay up all night playing Roblox events, because, well, you might win $1 million. I'll see you in the next one.